Yes, thank you so much. I see this is a big deal. I'm the first, so I do not take that for granted. But yes, shalom everybody. I hope you can hear me okay. Again, my name is Talia, and yes, I wear quite a few hats, as Brother Joseph said. My husband Hoshea, he's an active member of your group, and so I'm so glad that he told me about it. I have two young daughters. I homeschool as well, so my day is pretty busy. On top of my, excuse me, on top of my trade, I've been into healthcare for oh boy, over 20 years now. It's just interesting how Father moved me from like health administration to the pharmacy to mental health to herbs. So it's been a process and it's been a beautiful one. Now, my education is in health and wellness, health sciences, and then I went back to school to get my graduate degree in public health management. So, um, I work in mental health. I think that's where the Most High really spoke to me because I don't know if any of you have worked in mental health, but it could be tough. I know for me, I'm really spiritually sensitive, and it was just starting to get to me, and I just cried out to Father one day and said, there's got to be a better way to help people. There's got to be a better way than to just give them medication because something's not working, and it was just weighing on my heart. And so he really just put on my heart to go towards the more holistic side of health, um, using his herbs, using his plants, things that he created himself. And that can obtain more true healing for the body, both inside and out. So, yes, I have a couple books out. I think about four now on Amazon. If anybody's interested, let me know, or I can put a link in the comments afterwards. And even with those four books that I have, a lot of the themes go into getting to know the love of the Messiah and also being made whole. So I'm going to get into the lesson that I had for um, this special group here. So my lesson is about anger. It's about anger, and is anger making you sick? I know our emotions are natural, but in particular, I'm going to talk about how anger can affect you both naturally and spiritually. So in my line of work, I see a lot of people coming to me about herbs trying to correct the health condition when a lot of times it's connected, has a spiritual root behind it. Because when you look at the data, I found out that about 80% of health conditions have a spiritual root connected to it. And that's a pretty big number. Not all of them, but a lot of them do have a spiritual root connected behind it. And when you look at anger, of course, it's just a natural human response. We have all gotten angry over the years or throughout our lifetime. Offenses, anger, it happens. It's natural. And the Most High has a built in what I call well, not what I call, as a fight or flight mechanism built inside of us as a form of protection. Okay. And that's when, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but that's when we have hormones that secrete and be released when we are feeling that we need to stay and fight or if we need to run and flee. And I know it does take wisdom to decide which one to use in that particular moment, but it is there as a form of protection. Now, the the danger is when anger becomes your driving force and response for everything you're doing. Every reaction has become like an anger behind it. You're actually putting your health at risk. So even if you have an angry friend, I found out you can affect your soul. So in Proverbs 22, it says, let's see, around verse 24 through 25, make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man thou shalt not go, lest thou learn his ways and get a snare to thy soul. So, if having a friend with anger can become a snare to your soul, what would anger do to you when it's in a consistent state? When you're in a constant state of anger, you actually become your own stumbling block to your healing. So let's look at Hebrews 12. I'm going to read verse 14 through 15. And it says, "Follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord, looking carefully lest there be any man who falls short of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and many be defiled by it." You see, so Father is really showing you a root there. So anger is not actually the source of this sickness, it's the bitterness behind the anger that is fueling that. That's what's making you sick. It's the bitterness behind it. So when you're in a constant state of anger, it causes your body to become weak and more prone to sickness. So let's look at Proverbs chapter 14, verse 30. And that one says, "A sound, healed heart is life to the body, but envy is rottenness to the bones." So bitterness is the root of anger. And when you start looking at what wisdom says bitterness is associated with anger, envious, envy, unforgiveness, resentment, and even poison. So it's there's nothing really positive around that particular root. So we really want to watch that in terms of our health and our status here. So I'm going to read to you a couple of the health conditions that I found that are spiritually rooted behind anger and bitterness. Now, keep in mind, this is not the whole entire list, but I just wanted to give you at least a couple of examples of what health conditions could be associated with this. So it's inflammation, aneurysms, hemorrhoids, varicose veins, tension headaches, when coming from your forehead down to your neck into your shoulders. Sometimes you can even see it on people. They're just really tense and can't seem to come down off of their day. Rheumatoid arthritis, some autoimmune disorders, some cancers, autism, cysts, psoriasis, teeth grinding, and more. So let's look at some specific areas in your body that anger and bitterness can affect. I'm going to talk about four. These are the most affected. So, of course, your whole body. So, like I said, inflammation can affect the whole body, but these main four are more so affected by it. So, it's your liver, your eyes, your heart, and your adrenal glands. So, I'm going to go over those kind of quickly. So, with your liver, your liver is amazing. The Most High, I don't know what he was thinking when he created this organ, but even if you have a small piece of your liver left, it can actually regenerate itself. Isn't that amazing? I don't know, but I get excited hearing stuff like that. Um, but yes, your liver has over 500 vital functions in the body. I don't know about you, but I didn't know that. I knew it was a lot, but I didn't know that number was that high. So this is a very important organ in your body. And the main functions of your liver is, of course, to break down food, use it as energy. It filters your blood throughout the body. Now, that's all the blood in your entire body, from your scalp to your toes. That organ is this primary job is to filter everything that's in your blood in and out to protect you, and breaks down poison substances such as, of course, drugs and alcohol. Now, when you're in a constant state of anger, it actually weakens your liver. Now, I don't know about you, but 500 vital functions, that is not the organ you want to be weak, you know? Um, so you really want to pay attention to that. And as a side note, in Chinese medicine, it's link between anger and liver is very close. So of course, chronic anger, chronic stress can actually stagnate your liver, which of course goes into poor digestion, fatigue, become extra irritated, irritability, and your hormones become imbalanced. Now, your eyes, ironically, like Brother Joseph had said, they are connected actually to your liver. The eyes, they're the doorway to your soul. Someone can say, I'm fine," but you can kind of see they're on the verge of getting ready to cry. So I try to tease my kids because I can see when something's wrong with them in their eyes. I say, your eyes are giving you away. Your eyes are giving you away, so like you can see what's going on with the person on the inside. So your eyes are affected by anger because, of course, when your emotions are imbalanced and your blood vessels are starting to tense up, even in your eyes, it's constricting blood flow. So it can actually blur your vision when you're in a constant state of stress, anger, bitter. They become easily red. If you have sort of dry eye, easily irritated, you really want to be mindful of that. What's going on with you and if you're becoming more and more in a constant state of anger. So of course we can't talk about, we can't skip over the heart because of course the heart pumps your blood that was just filtered by your liver. So if you're in a constant state of anger, your blood pressure goes up through the roof. And if it's in a constant state of being raised, if your heartbeat is palpitating, if it is constantly at a higher rate, over time, that can lead to cardiovascular disease. So we don't want that. Of course, we want you guys to be healthy. And last but not least, we have your adrenal glands. Now, your adrenal glands, real quick, are tiny glands that sit on top of your kidneys. And those are the glands that are in charge of your fight or flight response we just talked about earlier. So if those tiny glands are constantly stimulated by anger, by resentment, by bitterness, you are putting them in overdrive and they don't know when to turn off. And so if they're in charge of that fight or flight mechanism, you're going to be in a constant state of wanting to fight. I don't know about you, but I grew up with some people like that. Constantly want to fight, constantly want to be violent. It's like, dude, calm down. So a constant state of wanting to fight or a constant state of wanting to run. Either one when they are, how do you say, when they are in, overdrive. I am just really learning over time that the Most High wants us to be in modesty and in moderation with everything, not just what we eat, not just what we watch and listen to or how we dress, but also in our emotions. One extreme to another is not good. He doesn't want us always wanting to be fighting. He doesn't want us always running either. So those little glands are very important too. And overall, weakness in these vital organs can cause the body to malfunction, you know? So, of course, there is hope. There's hope. There is hope. So, here are some herbs that are, I'll say, my go to when it comes to your liver, your heart, um, your emotional support, and your eyes. So, your liver, my favorite ones is dandelion root, burdock root, and milk thistle. I like those because it provides what the liver really needs in terms of nourishing the blood, cleansing the blood, protecting the liver from toxins. It also helps remove waste and it provides a lot of minerals and antioxidants. Root type of herbs are excellent source of minerals that the body needs. And so with your eyes, my favorite one for your eyes is eye bright. It's literally named eye bright. But eye bright, it helps relax the blood vessels in your eyeball and around your eye muscle. So it allows the blood to get to where it needs to go for better vision. So I do like eye bright. It helps reduce inflammation. And it's also good for hay fever, by the way. If any of you are suffering from allergies or sinusitis, this eye bright is really good for that too. And let's see, emotional support. Well, wait, let's talk about the heart. The heart one, I like hibiscus. Hibiscus is good. Hawthorn berries are great. Beetroot, beetroot. Now all three, if you don't know, it provides a very rich red color. Your blood organs, your heart, a lot of those organs love rich red color type of herbs, just as FYI. And these herbs and flowers, they help relax your blood vessels. We want a calm, cool spirit, trying to walk in peace as much as you can. I know our jobs and our family and friends, stress is everywhere, but your body really loves a calm, peaceful environment. And these herbs really help with that. They help lower your blood pressure and aids in fatigue. So, emotional support. I have come to realize berries, 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 berries will help your nervous system tremendously. They're such a healing fruit, and eat as many berries as you can for your nervous system, for your glands. One berry in particular that I like is called Shashandra berry. And what's interesting about this berry, there's like four different flavors happening when you eat them. I ate them dry. I have some actually in my deep cleanse tea, and you have like four different flavors going on, and it's helping actually the organs that I mentioned today. So that one berry can do like five, 4 or 5 different things at one time. And let's see, of course, chamomile. Chamomile has saved my life before. That's a whole testimony for another story, maybe for another day. But chamomile is great for tension relief. It's a calming flower. It doesn't put you to sleep. Yeah, I'm not really sensitive to chamomile, but it's a more of a calming, relaxing type of herb. And I also like holy basil. So of course, of course, when you do the natural, I highly recommend my clients to also address the spiritual. You know, of when you address the spiritual root behind anger, behind bitterness, um, with the natural, with the spiritual, to really ask Father what's going on, you can attain true healing from both sides. When that's the goal. The goal is to obtain true healing, healing both the natural and spiritual, so you can be whole again. I watched a lot of the patients I used to work with and work for at the mental health hospital, and even at some of these major hospitals. Medication is a band aid, but of course, we need to go to the healer for true healing. So he can actually guide you on what herb to take, that's catered to you, and also addressing that spiritual root so it will not defile you. So